Hello! It's me. Just kidding. Anyways, hello and welcome. I am sure you all are having a wonderful time in the big city of Guymon, Oklahoma. I really wish I could be there, but as you all know, I'm sure, Guymon is like its own country and it's forever away, and I just couldn't make that work with my schedule. So sorry I really couldn't be there in person. However, I am very honored and very excited to be speaking with you all today, even if it is through a cellular device. I am still very, very excited. Before we ever get started and get deep into the conversation, I kind of want to make you guys laugh, or at least attempt to. So I will let it be known that I am filming this video in a bathroom. So there's that. It's casual. And for those of you who triggered, why is she in a bathroom? Is she sitting on a toilet? No, I am not sitting on a toilet. I'm sitting on a very stylish and comfortable bench. Yes, it's very nice. So yeah, I'm in a bathroom, and if you guys are wondering why I am making this video in a bathroom, please don't think I'm weird. It's just, I live in a sorority house, and when you live with 80 other girls, it's kind of hard to find privacy in here. So I found this bathroom. It's very fancy, has really good lighting, and all girls know if it has good lighting, then it's a prime place to be filmed in. So anyways, pick this bathroom. No, I'm not sitting on a toilet, so we're just gonna cut it there. So I guess I should introduce myself for those of you who don't know me. My name is Alma Rios. I am a freshman at Oklahoma State University, go Pokes, and I am studying biochemistry and molecular biology with a minor in Spanish. So I know, it's when I tell people that, they're like, oh wow, yeah. So some of you guys might not know what that means, but that basically means I'm pre-med and I want to be a doctor eventually when I grow up. That's the plan. So let's I'm sure you guys want to get to know me a little bit more, other than my name and my major and where I go to college. So I'm going to share some fun facts with you all. Fun fact number 1, I love America. I love it. America. The red, white, and blue, my favorite colors. So to prove that statement, I will share with you all that I am a newly naturalized citizen. So what that means is I was born in Mexico, moved over to the United States when I was around 2, almost 2. I was very young. And I grew up in Buffalo, Oklahoma. Out of all places, Buffalo, Oklahoma. It's wonderful. I love it there. Love the people there. So once I turned 18, I was eligible to become a citizen. And so I applied. It was a long process, but on August 28th, 2015, I became a U.S. citizen with 97 other people from 33 different countries. And honestly, it was so beautiful. It was a beautiful ceremony. I remember putting my hand across my heart and singing the Star-Spangled Banner for the first time as a naturalized citizen, a U.S. citizen, an American, and I got a little teary-eyed. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna lie, I cried a little bit. Sorry, I got tongue twisted there. But yeah, it was beautiful. So I love America. Number 2, I have played on the Thunder Court before. So if you catch the drift, then I'm implying that I'm basically a baller. Could have been D1, but I just turned it down to go to the best university in the nation. Totally kidding. I played on the Thunder Court when I was in 7th grade, and it was a scrimmage. I think I made 5 points total that game, so not a stud. My coach hooked us up with that deal before like the Thunder was really popular, so it's not really a big deal, but it's pretty interesting if I do say so myself. Fun fact number 3, Clue Camp changed my life. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about today. However, before we get started on that, I do want to just talk a little bit on testimonies. I'm going to just warn you guys. My testimony is a little boring, and it's not like super amazing. I mean, I'm sure you all have heard these testimonies where like people overcome drug abuse, or maybe they were like in a car accident and they were like paralyzed from their neck down, and then God worked with them and healed them, and now they're like literally walking testimonies of God's promises and God's faithfulness. Yeah, my testimony is not like that at all. I mean, you guys are going to hear it in a little bit, but it's kind of silly. And what I'm trying to get at is that no matter like what your testimony is, it is still beautiful and it is still significant. And hopefully that's what I'm gonna, like, that's the message that I'm trying to convey through this video. So hopefully you guys understand that, because most of you might not go through something traumatic in your lives. You know, I certainly didn't. I lived a very sheltered life, and I guess I'm pretty thankful that I didn't have to go through anything like that, but still, you know, my testimony is still beautiful. It's still like being written. It's still significant. And for those of you who have a testimony like mine, you know, it's kind of just like, it's there. It's not like, wow, but it's still there. Please know that it's still beautiful and it's still significant, and it will impact someone in a positive way, I'm sure. So let's get started. So I guess I could start off by saying that I always believed in God. My parents are Christians, and so they kind of taught me like the basics of it in the Bible, but we never went to church. We didn't attend church regularly, or actually at all, for a very long time. And so when I was little, I would hear the church bells ring on Sunday mornings, and I would ask my parents, why are we not going to church? And they would make up, I mean, I'm sure you all have heard these excuses, but they would say, oh, we're just too tired, or, oh, we have nothing to wear, you know, or, oh, we have so much to do today, we don't have time. So anyways, normal excuses that you hear from anyone, I'm sure. And I didn't really care at the time. I was just curious why we weren't going. I wasn't really like, we should go. I was just curious. At the time I was really young, so if we didn't go to church, then I got to watch cartoons. So I really didn't care either way. I do remember, however, when I was a little bit older, this was probably like when I was 8 or 10 maybe, I asked my father one morning, I asked him, why don't we go to church anymore? And he responded with a question, and I will never forget this question. He asked me, if you stand in a garage, does that make you a car? And so obviously I said, well, no. And it took me 10 years to really realize what he meant by that question. But I finally figured it out, and I'll share a little bit about that later. So let's fast forward like 2 or 4 years. In middle school, I started going to the Buffalo United Methodist Church, and let's be completely honest, I only went because of 2 things, the snacks and the people. And so my closest friends went there, so I went there to be with them, and they had really good snacks. So I went, and it was fun. And the fact that it was fun, that's what kept me going. So went there pretty regularly when I was young. And then I finally got to go to Clue Camp. And this was the summer after my 8th grade year. So it was my first and last year of junior high Clue. And I went there and I loved it. I was just like, wow, there are so many great people. It's a beautiful place. I even learned a lot about God. And so I was very, very happy with it. Very happy with my experience. And after Clue, I thought I was growing tremendously in my walk with God. And I thought this because I took initiative on like buying a Bible and attending church regularly and even going to youth group. However, I was merely going through the motions. I bought my Bible, but I only read it if I had to. Like if someone asked me to read a scripture during Sunday school, I didn't read it on my own time. I attended church regularly, but I only went because I felt obligated to. I did not go because I wanted to know and to learn. And then on Wednesday nights, when I went to youth, I didn't go because I was excited to hear God's word and learn a lesson. I was more concerned about who would be there. So it was very like surface level growing. I mean, I was just going through the motions. It didn't really mean anything. And so that would have been like my junior years, or not my junior, sorry, my freshman year. Freshman year of high school was very rough for me. I had my first breakup and I thought the world ended. And I lost a really good friend that year. And that sounded bad. She did not die. I didn't lose her that way. We grew apart, and it was very heartbreaking for me because she was a very, very close friend of mine. And so freshman year was really rough, and I took those burdens with me to Clue Camp that year, and everything changed. And this is going to be really corny, but I saved the t-shirt that we got that year, and I cut it up because I can't really fit this in my Bible case. So cut it up, saved it forever because it's just so significant to me. And this was the theme. This is from my t-shirt back in 2012. The theme was Jesus is here, and that's when I really learned who Jesus was and what he did for me and what his love entails. And so, kids, I hope you brought your galoshes because it's about to get real deep in here. So that year at Clue, I remember going to the prayer stations, not thinking much of them. I was not really excited for them. However, there was this particular prayer station where it was a shredder machine and stacks of paper. And you would read the directions and it told you like write whatever and then shred it, like forget about it. And so I was like, okay, so I wrote down everything that happened that year that just kind of like upset me, broke my heart. So of course I wrote about my breakup with my boyfriend and with my best friend, and I just wrote everything down, and it was just, my emotions came over me and I was just crying so much. Like I was basically journaling. I was writing a lot on this piece of paper. Tears were just flowing down onto it, and so it just looked like a big blur. And wrote everything down, and I felt so much better. But then when I shredded it, something happened. And I felt this weight lifted off my shoulders, and my heart was just, it was full. It was honestly full again. And I will never forget that feeling. I will never forget that experience. And it sounds silly to say that, like a shredder led me to my salvation, but it's true. A piece of paper, a pen, a lot of tears, and a shredder led me to my salvation. I told you it wasn't very impressive, but it's true. And I felt this weight just lifted off my shoulders, and I cried even more because I was very confused, but I loved it. I mean, I just felt free. And later that night at worship, the sermon was about forgiveness. And it was the perfect sermon to listen to that night. And I remember going up to the altar, and the band was doing their thing. And if you've been to Clue, it's honestly so amazing. I can't wait to go back. But I remember just praying to God, and I asked him, I told him, "You're my Savior. Can I follow you?" And I mean, of course, he said yes. And so I started crying some more, and that was the night I was saved. And that was the night that everything changed and a new life began. And I will never forget that year. That's why I keep that piece of t-shirt in my Bible case. It's very significant to me. It's part of my story. And that was honestly the first stone in this beautiful path that God has planned out for me. And ever since then, I have grown tremendously in my faith. I have learned a lot. And let's kind of rewind to that question that my father asked me when I was younger. He asked me, if you stand in a garage, does that make you a car? And so basically, what that was trying to teach me was, if you go to church, does that make you a Christian? And no, it really doesn't. Yes, going to church regularly does strengthen your faith. But, I went to the Buffalo United Methodist Church for years, but I was not a true Christian until that night at Clue, when I gave up my life and I decided I will follow Jesus. I will no longer be a fan of Jesus Christ. I will be a follower, because there is a difference. You see, I believed in God my whole life. I loved him. I knew of him. I respected him. He was my bud. I talked to him. But I was not willing to sacrifice anything for him. I was not willing to sacrifice my time in the morning because I was just too busy. There's a difference. I was merely an admirer. I was a fan. And that summer at Clue, I was saved, I was changed, and I became a follower. And now I'm willing to sacrifice anything for him, because I love him that much, because he would do the same for me. So that's what Clue did for me. I mean, not only that, but it brought me so many people that have impacted me in such a positive way, and they have kept me accountable, and they have inspired me, and they constantly show me love. And I mean, they just radiate God's love, and it's so amazing. The things that I'm thankful for Clue of, I mean, the list is never ending. And for those of you who haven't gone to Clue yet, get ready, because it's going to impact your life in a positive way. For those of you who have gone to Clue but still are on that kind of surface level, it's fun, I get to see my friends, it's a beautiful place, I challenge you to dig in deeper and to really look inside your heart and decide if you are a fan of Jesus Christ or if you are a follower. And I challenge you, if you're a fan, to take that next step. And if you're a follower, I challenge you to just grow even more in your relationship with him. And you can do that by, honestly, I'm still growing and I'm still learning. But recently I have gotten into his word, and I have seen a significant change in just the way I think and the way I present myself. I'm very much patient nowadays, because I know that God's got this all planned out. I should not worry. I should pray about it. I should get into his word more. Definitely shouldn't worry. Definitely shouldn't assume things. So, I mean, if you're not reading regularly, I challenge you to just do that. Or maybe you could start praying more, or maybe you could show God's love in different ways. But I challenge you to just take that next step, and I promise it'll be worth it. I'm not promising you that it's going to be easy, because it's not. But you should find an accountability partner, or just really have that mindset of taking it to the next level and really be determined to get to that next level. So, like I said, my testimony isn't really like, wow, but it's still beautiful and it's still significant. And I hope that this message or this story led you to believe that message. And for those of you who don't have like amazing, I shouldn't say amazing, that don't have like dramatic testimonies, you can relate now. And you know now, hopefully, that your testimony is still beautiful and it's still significant and it's still going to impact someone else's life in a positive way, I'm sure. I guess that's really all I have for you today, but boy, I just wish I could have been there in person. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I cannot wait for Clue, and you guys should be so pumped about it because it's going to be great. Please, if you want to talk to me more about testimonies or anything in general, I have a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, have it all. So contact me. I can't wait. And you guys shouldn't either. It's going to be so great. But that's all I have for you today. Sorry if I tried to be funny and didn't really make that happen. But, you know, at least I tried. So anyways, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. Please drive back safely. And I hope to see you all soon. All right. I love y'all, Clue family. And see y'all later.